my chess friends, welcome to this chess video, and we have a request from a young man, I think from America, Benjamin, to look at one of his games and offer some little piece of advice. Now, I'm not going to analyse this with a chess engine because Benjamin can do that on his own. We'll simply look at the games and try and draw some salient points that we can glean from it and apply in our own games. Now, Benjamin won this game, and of course it's very hard to argue with success, but we'll try and offer some little advices and see what happens. Now, Benjamin says that normally he plays the Coley opening, but in tournament play he likes to play the English opening, and that's what he does here. He opens with c4. His opponent played the principled move e5, knight to c3, getting a grip on the light squares in the centre of the board. And here his opponent played a provocative move. He played an immediate f5. Normally, people who play the reverse Grand Prix attack play this move first. Knight to c6, anchoring the d-pawn. Because what this move f5 does, it gives white the option of playing an immediate d4 if he likes. And of course, with the move knight to c6, this is impossible. But it's a very playable move, f5. It simply gives white more options. And here Benjamin himself played a provocative move. He played the move knight to f3. Of course he always needs to be careful for e4. Personally, I would prefer g3. And I'll tell you why. We're not sure what black is going to do with this dark square bishop. If he brings it to c5, we can play the Petrosian variation, and this knight is actually better on e2 than on f3. So for this reason I prefer the move g3 in this position. I think it's a very flexible choice, and we simply defer the deployment of this knight because we're not entirely sure whether it will be better on f3 or whether it will be better on e2. We need to wait to see what black will do with the dark square bishop, whether he brings it to c5 or whether he brings it to b4. Now, saying that, knight to f3 is a perfectly playable move and has been played by some very strong players. It's a provocative move because we always need to watch out, as I've said, for e4. Now here black played d6, a move I don't like. This bishop here belongs on c5 or on b4. And after the move d6, it is deprived of this. On c5, black's idea, after white fianchettos, is to play the move f4, where this bishop and this pawn will conspire against the fianchettoed position. You can see that here. The move d6, this is now virtually impossible. Benjamin played g3, which is correct. Knight to f6. d3, of course, preventing this pawn coming here. Bishop to e7, and you can see just how passive this bishop actually looks. Bishop to g2 and knight to c6 eventually. Benjamin castles, and his opponent plays a move which I think is ill-advised. He plays the move f4. Strategically, it's ill-advised because, well, you can see all the pieces still in the back rank. The king is still in the centre and the position is likely to open up. Tactically, it's dubious as well because it simply loses material. Because after pawn takes, and bishop takes, you can see the game is opening up. And already, black is down material. It simply makes no sense. Okay, if the bishop was here on c5, as we've already said. A move like this makes sense. Conspiring against the fianchettoed position. But with the bishop behind the pawn chain up here on d6, this makes absolutely no sense, this move. And it, as we've said, it loses material. And Benjamin correctly played g takes f4, e takes f4, and bishop takes f4. The black king is still in the centre. His pieces are undeveloped. And the game is likely to open up very fast. And as we've understood, he who is better developed is in a better position to take advantage of the position as soon as it opens up. Black castles, queen d2, and Benjamin has completed the goals of the opening. He has connected his two rooks. Posted the queen, developed all his pieces, and he has castled. Awesome. Yeah, it is. Black played bishop to g4. Where else could the bishop go? Well, it's probably going to trade here on f3 and bring his knight to d4. Let's see what happens. h3, neutralizing this piece which is in our position, is the strongest move. It looks a little bit scary because it weakens the king position, but black is hardly in a position to take advantage of that now. Bishop takes, and bishop takes. And here black carries out his idea of knight to d4. The problem with it is that it of course neglects the pawn. And Benjamin has no reason not to take the material. His bishop cannot become trapped there. So he correctly plays the move. Bishop takes on b7. Rook moves and the bishop comes back to its home here on g2. Knight to h5. It appears to me that black is playing aimlessly. I mean, these are simply like one move threats. There's no strategy to black's game. And he's simply making one move threats, which is easy for white to play against because they are so insipid. And Benjamin simply retreats his piece to b3, pinning this knight, of course, against the pawn here on a7. Knight f5, and another pawn bites the dust. And white now has a beautiful queenside pawn majority. If he can get his two rooks behind these pawns and push them, it will create immense pressure in black's position. Knight to h4. And look at this bishop here on d5. It radiates. It's like a star of the chessboard. It radiates power throughout the chessboard. It's just awesome. Some players don't like a bishop like this on an outpost. They feel it's a little bit like a prima donna. Personally, I like it. I think it appears to me to be some type of star radiating power out in all directions. Of course, black is forced to move. He's in check, king h8, and munchy crunchy, this rook is gone for the bishop. And wires up the exchange. The queen has to retake. And bishop to e4. Knight to f4 was tried by black. It looks a little bit scary for white because his king is kind of open. But with good defence he will be able to take advantage of not only the material that he has, but the positional advantages, these two queenside pass pawns. Either black will need to mate white or he will be roasty toasty. Excellent move, knight to d5. Okay, it gives up a pawn, but black is playing on the wing, and we know that the best antidote to playing on the wing is playing in the centre. Knight takes h3 check is not a real threat because the king can simply get out of check, and now this knight must move again. Bishop to g5, tempoing the queen, but it's very easily parried with the move f4. Knight takes f4, knight takes, and rook to f6. Black, of course, would love to take on f4, but he cannot do so. He'll simply lose material. e3, anchoring the knight, preparing and giving the queen some scope again along the second rank. Rook to h6 was tried, some tricky tactics. But again, it's not a real threat because, well, white can simply move the king away as Benjamin did with king to g1. Queen to d8. I think a better move for black here would maybe queen to c8. Wait a minute, just get rid of this arrow. Queen to c8, aiming to bring the king down here. Sorry, the queen down here rather. But in the actual game he played. And Benjamin here begins this queenside pawn storm. Bishop drops back. Benjamin is unfazed. He simply continues, realizing that this pawn will put so much pressure on black's position. Bishop e5. Pawn is going. Queen g5 check. And here Benjamin finds the best defense. He plays bishop to g2. Queen g3. a7, and oblivious to the threat, black here plays the move, knight takes on g2. And I think you can see, dear chess friends, the weakness of the back rank, and after the move, a8 queen, the game is over. So very, very interesting little game here from Benjamin. Let us go right back to the start and just take a recap. Some provocative moves played here. Benjamin playing absolutely correctly, and his opponent here opening up the game before he was developed before he was castled, losing material and suffering as a consequence. Simply making one move aimless threats will not win you chess games, because good defence and good play will refute this type of play any day. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for sending me the game. It was a very interesting game, and as I said, I could not offer you so much advice because, well, you played the game so well, and it's absolutely hard to argue with success. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, my dear chess friends, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this chess video, and I wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.